What's up guys, welcome back to another YouTube video, and in today's video I'm going to do a 2024-25 Premier League prediction video. I know this is going to rattle a couple fan bases, but at the end of the day it's just my prediction, so make sure you guys enjoy the video, like, subscribe and comment where you guys think that your club is gonna be in the table. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so starting off with 20th, I am going to put Leicester. And the reason is, I just don't think Cooper's tactics is going to work with Leicester because they've not really got a very high quality squad. I don't really think they've made very many great transfers. And I really just think that with them having a points deduction as well is going to really make them struggle. You know, I've heard that it could be anywhere from 10 to 15 points. So in that case, I'm going to put them 20th. Okay, so in 19th place, I'm going to put Southampton. The reason being is they've not really made any exciting transfers, in my opinion. They've bought in Ben Brereton Diaz, and I just don't really rate him as a player. And I just think that they'll have a bad season like they did the last season. They were in the Premier League. I think that they could actually be contenders of 20th place. If it wasn't for Leicester having a points deduction, then they would be rock bottom. But Southampton are going 19th, and I'm very confident with that. Okay, so in 18th place, I am going to put in Wolves. And the reason I'm putting them there is basically because they just lost Pedro Neto. They lost Max Kilman. They've lost some other players. And they just haven't really brought anyone in that's very exciting, in my opinion. So for that reason, I think they're going to be 18th. I also cannot stand the Wolves fan base. They hate the fact that we have Gibbs White. We took their best player off them. But it's all good because they're going to go down this season. Okay, going in 17th place, I am going to put Ipswich. I think they've made some decent transfers, to be fair, and they've spent a decent amount of money, and I think that's what you're supposed to do when you come up to the Premier League. You know, Forest did it. We made some good signings, but I think Ipswich will stay up. I think they'll be fine. I think it will be a very difficult season for them, but maybe after a season or two, they might be able to start improving. But it just reminds me of when Forest came up. They've got a really great manager, and I think that they'll stay up. Okay, so going in 16th, I am going to put Brentford. And the reason I'm going to put them there is because I don't rate Thomas Frank as a manager. I think his tactics are poor, and I don't think that they've really made any great signings, to be honest. They signed Thiago Rodriguez, but I just don't think they'll have a great season. I think 16th is respectable for Brentford. If I was going to be biased, I'd actually have put them to be relegated. I would love to see them get relegated, but I am going to put them 16th. Okay, so in 15th, I am going to put Everton. Okay, so the reason I've put Everton in 15th is because, to be honest, you know, they've kept Braithwaite, and they did lose Amadou Onana, but I just think that they will struggle again this season, to be honest, and that's just Everton. They won't go down because it's just never going to happen, unfortunately. But Everton, 15th, I think is respectable. I think they've still got a couple seasons of rockiness in them. Okay, guys, so in 14th, I am going to put Bournemouth. And the reason is they just lost Dominic Solanke the other day. Apparently, they could be replacing him with Tammy Abraham, but that's just a rumour. So you just got to base it off the fact that they've lost Dominic Solanke. And I just don't really think they've done enough this transfer window to really surprise me. So I think that they'll be 14th. Okay, so going in 13th is going to be Fulham. Okay, so the reason I've put Fulham in 13th is because they lost Palhinha, who was a very good player for them. And I just don't think they've really brought in anyone too special. They brought in Smith Rowe, who is a decent player, but he didn't really play much for Arsenal these past couple seasons. They brought in Ryan Sessegnon from Tottenham, and I just don't think it's enough for them to really have a higher mid-table type of season. So 13th, I think, is respectable for Fulham. Okay, so in 12th, I'm going to put the mighty Forest. The reason behind this is because this window has been great. Niakate for somewhere around 22 million. That was unbelievable. We sold Vlachodimos to Newcastle, and we've had their pants down with that one. Anderson is a quality player from Newcastle. I really rate him as a player. It'll be great to see if Nuno can try and fit him in that starting 11. We've got the new signings like Jota Silva, Milenkovic, and we're still linked to a couple strikers. Raymond Sosa, it would be amazing to have him, but I know that there's a lot of struggles with the club that he plays for currently, and they're not really letting him go. But I really do think that we're going to have a busy end of the transfer window, to be honest, and I am really excited and here for it. So that's the reason I've put us 12th. I would like to aim higher, but I think that 12th is a respectable place, especially with the past couple rocky seasons we've had in the opening of our Premier League journey. Okay, so 11th, I am going to put Brighton. To be fair with Brighton, they've not really surprised me. They've brought in Minty from Newcastle, Mats Wiefer from Feyenoord, or however you say his name. And they haven't really lost anybody that's a major player for them this season. But I just don't think they've really made any improvements from last season. They came 11th last year, so I think 11th will be respectable for Brighton this season as well. Okay, so in 10th, this could bite me in the arse, but I am going to put Man United. The reason is, they're just shambolic, to be honest. I don't rate Ten Hag as a manager. I think that they have awful owners. They've not really brought in anyone apart from Lenmi Yoru and Xerxes from Bologna. However, they did lose Rafael Varane, who I rated, to be honest, as a centre-back. And I really just don't think they've done enough to be contending for anywhere like Conference League. I really don't think they will. It could bite me in the arse, like I said, but Man United 10th, and I stand by that. Okay, so a team that I think is going to struggle this season, I am actually going to put Newcastle at 9th. The reason is they just have had a very boring transfer window, and I feel like there was a couple positions that they really needed to strengthen from last season. They brought in Vlachodimos from Forest, and if you're a Forest fan, you know for a fact that it's not ideal. But to be honest, there is rumours that they're going to get Gueye from Palace, and if they do, then I would consider putting them higher. But based off what I know so far, I'm going to put Newcastle in 9th. Okay, in 8th place, I'm going to put West Ham. I think their recruitment, their transfer window has been unbelievable. They've had a great transfer window. They brought in some great players, the likes of Todibo, Rodriguez, Fulkrug, Somerville, Kilman. I just think that they could have a season that is better than 8th. However, the reason I'm putting them there is because with so many new players who are quality, it might take them more than a season to get used to playing with each other, and I just don't know if the chemistry is going to be there. So for that reason, I am going to put West Ham in 8th. Okay, so in 7th, I am going to put Crystal Palace. I think they've got a lot to build from last season. I rate Glasner as a manager. He's great. We was linked to him last season, and although I do back Nuno all the way, I do rate Glasner, and I think that he'll have a great season with Palace again, build from what they had last season. They brought in Sarr from Marseille, but they also lost Michael Elise. I don't know if Eze is going to stay or not, but I really think that they will struggle without Elise. But at the same time, when you've got a manager like Glasner who is getting results, I just think that they will do well this season. So for those reasons, I am going to be putting Palace in 7th. Okay, so in 6th place, I am going to put Villa. The reason I've put them quite low compared to last season is because they've got Champions League football to be juggling with the Premier League, and they might struggle like Newcastle did last season. They've brought in some unbelievable players. They brought back Ross Barkley. They've brought in Illing Jr., Cameron Archer, Amadou Onana. They've brought in some class players, and I really think they will do well, but they might just struggle with the Champions League and juggling that with the Prem. It is difficult, like we saw with Newcastle, and they might pick up some injuries. That is one issue that we might have. So if they can have a lot of depth in their squad like they do, then maybe they'll prove me wrong. But let's move on to 5th place. So in 5th place, Tottenham are going to be there because they've brought in some great players like Dominic Solanke, who is absolutely class. And I know Tottenham obviously needed a striker. Richarlison was not cutting it. They brought in Archie Gray. I feel like they could be higher than 5th, but the reason that I don't think they'll get any higher than 5th is because of the other following clubs that we have remaining. And that is why in 4th place, I'm going to be putting Chelsea. The reason I'm putting Chelsea there isn't because I want to put them there. It's more because it's like if they don't come top 4 with the amount of signings and quality that they have now got in their squad, it is actually embarrassing. They brought in Pedro Neto, Dewsbury Hall, someone called Philip Jorgensen, and the list goes on. So for that reason, I feel like Chelsea have to be 4th. So I think quite lucky to be here, to be honest, is Liverpool. I feel like they could be lower down than 3rd. However, I think that they've, got the quality already. They haven't really made any signings this transfer window, but they could still do well. Slot is obviously a new manager in the Premier League, so we never know if they're going to slot him into mid-table or if he's going to be 3rd, 2nd, 1st, whatever. So for that reason, I'm going to put them 3rd. Okay, so 2nd and 1st kind of speaks for itself, really. Arsenal, I'm going to put in 2nd, and Man City in 1st. So the reason that Arsenal have gone in 2nd for me, they've signed Calafiori, but apart from that, they haven't really signed anyone other than that. But they have only really lost Smith Rowe, who really wasn't even playing for them anyway. So, to be honest, I think it would just be similar to last season. They'll contend with Man City. But, to be honest, Man City are going to win the league. And it is getting a bit boring now. Man City winning everything. But they've just got so much quality. And I don't see them going anywhere for 3 or 4 more years. Man City are going to win. And that's that, unfortunately. Anyways, guys, that is my Premier League predictions for this season. Let me know where you guys think that your club is going to be. Tell me if you think I'm wrong, if I'm right. And hopefully Forest will be mid-table this season. No relegation battle, please. Anyways, thank you very much. And I'll see you guys in the next video.